Welcome to Kismet Rising. You're here to have a pick a card reading. I'm using tarot cards today, and the question for us is, what can we expect within the next month? So this reading is relevant to you when you watch this video, and for the month ahead from the point at which you've watched this video. So excuse the hard shadows. I am shooting this in full sunlight, as you can see. So please choose a deck. You have deck 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You may pause this video to take the time to actually see which deck resonates with you. And the question once again is, what can we expect within the next month? Okay, if you've taken the time to choose your deck, then we're going to just go right ahead. If not, please pause this video at this point and take your time. Okay, we're going to start with deck 1. And I'm just going to shuffle the cards once again. And the question I'm asking here is for all of those who chose pile number 1 or deck number 1, what is it that they need to know? What is it that they need to expect in the upcoming month? All right, let's go into it. Okay, so what I see here is basically there's a situation in which you have the chance to speak your truth. You have the chance to be able to be quite incisive about what it is that you need, what it is that you require within a given situation. I'm picking up a vibration of quite a lot of love within this reading. So this may pertain to love, it may pertain to emotions, but it also could pertain to a particular venture that you are particularly concerned with at this moment. So I'm seeing that when you speak your truth, or when you are able to actually be honest with how you feel, and you can actually relate that to others as well, then you set forth a sequence of events which is not really within your control, but which really acts to your advantage. So once you have spoken your truth, you have the opportunity to be able to work in a team cohesively, and to be able to feel as if you have a deep mutual respect for one another, perhaps a deep mutual love for one another, that you can see the other's perspective and they can see yours. You both resonate with each other. So once again, this could be in a love situation, it could be in a work situation, it could be within a family situation as well, or simply with people around you. But whatever it is that's occupying your attention at the moment, this is what it resonates with. Leading from there on, I see that you actually have you come to a point of this love, this cohesion that you feel here, which has been set off by a sequence of events as a result of you speaking your mind, is in fact leading you to a sense within yourself where you feel quite secure with your feelings, where you feel quite compassionate as well, and where you're able to stand forth in your in the confidence of knowing how you feel about a given situation, and be able to balance your strength with your vulnerability. And from then on, I see that this situation can progress as you lead onto the following month. You're going in with an energy of being committed, of being dedicated, of working towards a cause, of actually choosing a path, which you've done here, which has come upon you in quite a beautiful manner, and having that security that you have in you. You're choosing a path in which you can work steadily towards a goal, and that may be a goal towards being with another, or setting up a home with another, or perhaps setting up working towards a common goal in a relationship, whether it be in work or love or in business, or it could be, as I said, in terms of family or friends as well. But what I do see is that you're ready for the long haul. You're ready to commit to that. So this is a particularly good month ahead for you, for those of you who have chosen this deck. I do believe that you will be quite satisfied with the month ahead, and just remember to not be afraid to speak your truth, and to be honest with yourself with regard to this, and that's ultimately going to lead you to quite a degree of satisfaction in terms of your feelings, quite a good balance in your feelings and in your emotions, and being able to access the world with a degree of authority based upon your feelings, and having control of those feelings. So that's it for you, pile number one. For those of you who've chosen pile number two, I'm just going to shuffle your cards for you. So the question we're asking here is, what can those who've chosen pile number two expect for themselves in the upcoming month? That month beginning when they have clicked on this video and have looked at this reading for the first time. Okay, and for those of you who have chosen pile number two, we're going to get right into it. Okay, so I'm just putting down a few extra cards for this pile in order to be able to gain clarity here. Okay, so what I see in this situation is that you begin the month on a high note, kind of excited, or almost really essentially enjoying the idea that you have. Now, and this idea that you have may be more of a fantasy and less grounded in reality. It might be a feeling that you have for somebody. It might be an inspiration that you have in terms of a project or a work-related situation. Or perhaps you're simply excited about something that you're hoping will come to fruition. And you're bathing in that energy. And it's actually all quite good. And you feel very happy about it. However, I do believe that there's an unrealistic expectation associated with this feeling. So you might not be seeing everything that you expect to be seeing, that you expect, excuse me, let me go back on that. You might not be aware of everything that is to be associated with this. You might be seeing the situation with rose-colored glasses, and you might be seeing the situation only from one perspective, and not actually understanding all the influences that impact this given situation. So these are just your feelings, and you're not really sure, or you're not really looking at this moment at really what the situation is. I think in this situation, what happens is that at some moment, this feeling and this understanding that you have of that situation leads you down a particular path, which leads you off balance to a certain extent. And you may feel a degree of anger regarding your situation not coming to fruition in the way that you expect it to come into fruition. You may become quite angry about that. You may become livid at the result of it. You may feel a degree of impatience. You may actually feel that you may feel really angry at the fact that you don't have control over the situation, and you may want to have that control over the situation, and this might lead you to having some obsessive feelings regarding this particular situation that's at the top of your mind during this month. The best thing to do within that situation is actually to walk away for a bit, to cut off the ties, to not actually invest in the way that you're investing here, but actually to step away in order to create balance that you have lost as a result. You can do that by resorting to traditional means. You may simply do some exercises and control of your mind. You may do some meditation. You may seek some advice from somebody that you trust, or you may choose to go inward and access your faith in regard to the situation, to seek that balance that you need. And do believe that you are able to come into that balance. So this kind of high that you start off with, which leads you out of control, from which you need to then walk away or break free from, leads you actually to this balance that you have here. And that enables you to grow something that's more fruitful and that's more fertile and that actually has deeper roots. From then on, I think that in the second half of the month, so I see this more or less happening in the first 2 weeks or so from the time in which you read this, you look at this reading. From then on, I see it's more of a balancing act for you. It's more about being able to sustain this equilibrium that you've come to here as a result of the help that you've sought from outside of yourself. So the help that you may seek is for instance, going to a religious site, or speaking to somebody from a religious order, perhaps doing a YouTube pick a card reading, or perhaps just consulting a friend. And when you've done that, you have a really good sense of equilibrium, which you then try to keep balanced for the rest of the month. And I see that you have difficulty of focusing on what it is that you need to be doing, on what it is that will give you the joy and the fulfillment that you require. So it's a matter of keeping all of that in balance, and actually understanding that you haven't actually experienced a loss here, because this was just in your mind. The idea that you had was simply in your mind, and just recognizing that you haven't actually lost anything as yet, that you still have it within your capacity to grow what it is that you need, if you can have balance of your work situation, or perhaps if you can have the focus that you need with regard to this. And I feel that it might be a work situation. It doesn't have to be a work situation, it could be any situation, but you need to manage it with a focus, a dedication, a diligence that you would a job that you were doing, and that you were going to be that you've been tasked with. So that is what you need to be doing for the second half of the month. Actually keeping that balance, recognizing that you actually haven't lost anything, that you have the potential to turn this around if you were able to keep the balance, and be diligent about what you need. And I think one of the things that by the end of the month, you might be feeling that you've reached an impasse, or you're not able to get beyond the situation, or that you're not actually able to come beyond that, or you're not even able to look at it again, because it from here to here it brought you quite a lot of pain. And I think that it might be that this is the way in which you need to heal yourself from the pain that you experience during this situation, and it might be necessary for you to have this this energy in yourself where you're not really able to think further. I do feel, however, that the card that follows this is showing us that you will come to an agreement within yourself about what it is that you need. You will come to you'll come to an understanding. You'll come to a point at which you can look forward and plan again. You may even come to you may, if this was somebody that you were infatuated with and you had a crush on and you started obsessing about them, then you felt you need to break away from them, and take control of your emotions, and then you just needed to balance other things that have been neglected in the meantime. But then you felt heartbroken, not by that person, but by the loss that you feel that you've had, and then you decided not to look at the situation again, just to close your eyes to it. You may find that this actually brings you some degree of closeness to that person, or you may feel like you on the same page with each other again, or that you're moving towards something. If this was regarding a work-related situation, a project which you had high hopes for, which you became very focused on, or almost to the point of obsession, at which it was somehow something that you needed to walk away from for whatever reason, you may find then that it returns, and that you have a different perspective on it, and you have a goal to watch. You can work towards here. This situation may also give you a perspective in your life and where you're headed to. So if this was just something concerning some matter in your life, a personal matter in your life, you will have an idea of where you're heading to by the beginning of the following month. So for those of you that chose pile number 2, I hope that you're able to weather what's coming to you in this month with ease, and that you find the wisdom that you need as you move forth in the month. For those of you who chose pile number 3, I'm not, I think it was this one. So I'm not sure if this was pile number 3 or if it was pile number 5, but I'll put the relevant timestamp down below. And sorry for the blinding light here. I was inspired to do this morning, and I didn't want to lose the opportunity, so I'm going right ahead. Okay, so the question we're asking this deck is, for those of you who've chosen this pile, what is it that you need to know for the upcoming month? What is it that you can expect in the upcoming month? And any advice as to how to deal with what you are going to be faced with. Okay, so we're going to begin. Okay, so this is a particularly interesting reading. I see here that you begin the month with a great focus and a diligence and moving towards a particular goal, working meticulously upon achieving this goal, having full security of your ability within this task that you are assigned, that you've been assigned to, or that you have assigned yourself. This takes you in a space inward, where you almost meditatively go on a journey within yourself. It brings you to certain realizations that you need, that come to you through your work. So dedicating yourself to a particular task this month will be of great benefit to you, because it will lead you to a place within yourself where certain thoughts which you will have will lead to particular realizations, etc. You may feel alone during this time, but I don't believe you'll feel lonely, because you will have yourself, and you'll have a very strong sense of yourself within that. Here, I see that as the month progresses, so it's almost like that's the first week, and that's the second, the third, and the fourth. I feel that you may come together to discuss perhaps your work or what you've been thinking about with a group of other people, where you may have a certain banter, a kind of discussion with each other. There may be some degree of competition, but you are coming together with others to work through what you have been undergoing in the last week, in the week prior to that, I mean. When you've come out of this, I see that you'll have a pretty strong sense of resonance. This resonance that you may experience may be with another, it may be with a love partner, or it may be with a family member, it may be with a friend, it may be with a work associate, but it also could be just simply with yourself, and with that aspect of what you consider to be divine. I do believe that these two cards here speak to me more of having a sense of resonance within oneself, a sense of trust, and knowing that you are on a path that is actually going to bring you closer to that which is divine, to that which is a universal truth. Moving on from there, I see that you're celebrating the gifts or the rewards of having had that diligence, of having had that steady work ethic, that dedication there, of having all these experiences and these emotions which have led you inward, which have led you to share your thoughts with others, which have brought you to a sense of being quite pleased with yourself and having all that you need, especially on a physical realm, and actually wanting to protect that to some extent. Having gathered your resources and being quite aware of your resources, I see you setting your sights on a new path, where you would be working again in a very diligent fashion, with a lot of patience, making a steady headway towards a particular goal. But before you do that, you need to take some time out to dream again, to actually understand what it is that you need for yourself, and also just to rest and to take some time out for yourself to rejuvenate yourself, because this would have been work for you, going inward here and actually accessing those truths which bring you to that state. And I see you've been working really hard here, but you require a little reprieve from it all, just to really understand what it is that you desire, what it is that you truly want from your life, and where it is that you're going to, and how it is that you will reach there. And I believe that the month ends off for you on a very high note, where you do believe that your wish is fulfilled, largely because you've attained what it is that you've worked to. You've attained a certain spiritual degree of satisfaction and fulfillment, almost a feeling of bliss. You have worked with others and you have been successful, even if it was just simply showing them your goods, or sharing an idea with them, you feel happy and confident about that interaction. And it's a beginning of a new cycle here, which actually leads you to your wish fulfillment. So whatever it is that you are thinking about here in terms of your next goal, you're going to achieve that, and I feel it'll come quite quickly, much quicker than you ever actually anticipated. And it won't be such a slog that you think it will be here. So that's your reading for this. Those who you have chosen this particular deck here. So let's move on to the next one. I hope that it resonates with you. If it indeed does, please let me know in the comment section. For those of you who have chosen the deck number 4, or this particular deck here, okay, the question we're asking is, what can they expect in the month ahead? What is it that they need to know for this upcoming month? Any guidance for those who've chosen this pile for the upcoming month? What is it that they can expect? Okay, so I already see that there's a situation here where you've actually been struggling a bit. Maybe having late nights, not being able to sleep, not feeling like you have control of a situation, or recognizing that you have control of a situation, but really finding it difficult to take the action that you need to take towards moving towards a particular goal or resolving the situation that you're with. You will, however, come to a point where you will need to take a decision regarding this. You won't have a choice, and this decision that you will take will relieve you from the anxiety or the difficulty that you've been experiencing at the beginning of the month, from whichever point at which you access this reading. I think that one of the things that you will resolve to do is actually dedicate yourself to a particular task, to actually dedicate yourself to a task which will give you a deep sense of fulfillment, but will also enrich you both financially and also enrich you in that it will help you feel more secure about yourself. There's a sense here in which you need to ward off others. There's a sense of you feeling a bit defensive here. But you need to actually protect what you have. Perhaps protect what it is that you're working on. Not let people know what it is that you're busy working with. Just particularly go into your world, work on what it is that you're doing, and ward off others for the moment. Or be wary of others. Not because anyone is causing you harm, so to say, but rather because this is what gives you that peace of mind at this moment. Here we have a situation where I do believe that you will be juggling or balancing something, and it may be the calm and peace that you seek within the work that you do, and actually keeping others at bay. I do believe, however, that this will lead to a degree of success for you financially, as well as in terms of your own fulfillment. And you do feel then secure enough to be able to share this with others, and to be able to not boast about it, but to be confident in your ability to be able to accumulate the resources that you need. So if you are a creative person or somebody who works for oneself, I see that here you're in a situation where you're just not able to get off the ground and not really able to move things along as you'd really like. But you come to a point where you can't do that anymore. You can't afford to be stuck anymore. You just have to work. You have to dedicate yourself. You have to stop procrastinating if that's what your problem was, and actually just do what you need to do. And in order to do that, if this was your situation, you would need to perhaps not engage in any social commitments, not to just to be able to focus solely on what you need to do, and that's going to bring you the reward that you've wanted, that you've been hoping for. I do think that you'll be happy then, and you'll be able to share this with others and celebrate it. And I think that as you head into the next month, what's actually going on is a sense of loss again that you've experienced. So you have a revisitation of these kind of feeling of being a bit like you've lost something, but in fact you haven't lost anything. It's just you might have missed out on some things here, or not being able to experience some things with some others. It could be a love situation that you've neglected as a result of needing to work really hard here in order to take care of something. This is a temporary feeling that you have, which will soon be overcome when you recognize that you actually are in control of your circumstances. You actually have a good handle on your life, and you are doing quite well, and you can actually acknowledge your authority in a given work situation, or within a particular situation in your life where you've felt previously that you haven't had that authority. So I think you go into the following month feeling quite confident about yourself and quite focused, and quite having a bird's eye view over your life and where it is that you are headed. So thank you for those of you who have chosen pile number 4. I hope that resonates with you. Do let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much. For those of you who've chosen pile number 5, or this could have been 3, I actually don't know, but have chosen this particular deck here. Excuse me, I had to forget actually whether this was the last deck. But for those of you who've chosen this particular deck, we're going to ask, what is it that you can expect in the next month? Where is it that you're headed? Is there any advice for you in the month ahead? Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Basically, I feel that you start this the month of needing to make communication with somebody, but actually not doing it. It's like a sense of you needing to either submit a proposal or contact somebody, but feeling a bit shy and not really doing it. Instead, what you're doing is you're trying to take yourself away from the situation, and you're trying to do something else with your time. You're trying to actually distract yourself. Excuse me. But you are, in fact, planning on sending a message to somebody, or working on something. So you're working on bringing yourself out of a particular situation, bringing yourself into a new situation. The intention is good. And let's see whether you will actually get to that point. So I see that you're kind of stuck a little bit. Like, it's as if you've come to an impasse with yourself. Like, you're not really able to move ahead. You're not able to actually take the steps that you need to. You are paralyzed in fear, or in sort of obsessive thinking about what it is that you need to do, or what will the outcome be, an outcome of which you have no control over. You can just send this off. You don't know what the response is going to be. You can't really predict that at this point. You're just very worried about it, and you have a lot of negative thoughts about where it is that you are headed. I do believe, however, that there's a rush of energy, and you do gain the confidence, and you actually change the situation quite quickly, perhaps in the second week or towards the second week. And there is an influx of communication, as well as a communication outgoing as well. This, however, brings you to a point where you are needing to consider something, which in fact is quite a positive thing, and it almost feels like a temptation for you. It leads you back inward, on a quest to be more disciplined with yourself. So it's not actually that you're in a situation where you need to be paralyzed, or you need to be in a situation where you're not, you don't have the fruits, so to say, of life, but rather that you're choosing to actually be in the situation. You're choosing that arid environment. You're choosing that situation where there isn't flow, although there has been a great deal of flow, and you have you have what it takes to be able to enable that, and you deserve it as well, but you don't see that at the moment. And I think it really is up to you to be able to take the decision to not be in this cage anymore, to enable the fruits of your labor, of your love, to flow forth, to transport yourself to a situation which is more abundant for yourself. Here I see that you are afraid again, but you've made some steps. You've come out of that situation. You are almost on the brink of having what you need, but you're afraid to take that next step. And you feel that you've taken the decision to go ahead, but now the door is closed, whereas the door was open before. So I don't think that you need to be very worried about this, though. I just think that in this situation, you have to understand that it comes around in cycles. This door will open again. You just need to pace yourself here. Work with your fears. Work on overcoming your fears. Don't allow them to paralyze you. Work on allowing your abundance to flow through to you. Work on allowing yourself to experience joy and happiness and abundance in your life. Also recognize where it is that you have been limiting yourself. And then take steps in a confident manner to move ahead. Don't allow yourself to think too much about the situation. Simply act on it. These cards are cards of action. Yeah. Act on it. Don't wait. Because then when you wait, you find that the door is closed. Excuse me. I think here, if you do come to that situation where you find that the door is closed, don't get in a quarrel with yourself about it. Just do something else with your time. Don't fight against it. Do something else with your time, and then come back. And when you come back, you'll see that you'll have another opportunity again. There is a transformation that's taking place here. And I feel that this is something that you need to accept for yourself. If you've worked with your fears and you've overcome them, and you help overcome them, if you manage to control the way in which you respond to the situation, which is not actually going your way for a moment, you'll find that you've worked through something, you've gone through something, you've exited a certain way of being which has held you captive, and it is the death of those fears that you have. It is the death of that which has defined you previously, and it's something that you can actually move on from. I just want to see what you enter the next month with. Okay, so you enter the next month with a sense of heading to a place. A new birth is occurring. you're in a form of gestation or gestation, however you say that. There's something that you're waiting. There are emotions to be controlled within this given situation, emotions that are shifting and changing. There is another door to where you need to actually go to. You just need to recognize it. This death here, followed by this particular card, actually shows me that there is definitely a rebirth, and that it actually is a good thing that's happening in your life. That in fact, you will actually come out of this situation. You will be able to create again, and you will have the blessings of those of the higher order with you. I just want to see where else we got going to, what other information we can get for this month for you. So for those of you who chose this pile, I think that it's possible that you need to I think that it's possible that you will actually have to deal with a particular situation that is not in your control. So here, this death is very much within your control. It's a transition that takes place in your life. But here, it's like you've been faced with something that you don't have any control over, something that you also haven't been expecting, something that comes as a result of this situation, and that leads as you heading into the following month. And I do believe that this brings you a degree of balance and a kind of stability that you have within yourself. You know, when I look at these cards, I think of somebody who's actually has a great deal of potential, who's afraid to actually tap into that potential, who's holding themselves back in a way, and then striking at a time which is not right, or in an energy that's not right, because there's all this pent up emotion and pent up ability that you're able to give to the world. And this brings you to a sort of transformation within yourself, where you recognize that you need to be able to give back to the world. You need to be able to understand how it is. But that actually leads you to some degree of vulnerability within yourself. It's vulnerability to a large extent due to what you're faced with when you export this new self into the world. But I do believe that this situation actually resolves quite beautifully, because you have the card of patience, you have the card of stability, the stability that you actually need here, the stability that you need here, the stability that you need here. At the end of this, as you head into the following month, or even in the following month, you have resolved these situations. You have come to a sense of peace and balance within yourself, where you're able to manage the situation very well, and you're able to, you're in balance once again, because this is the Temperance card here, and you are in balance. You have found a way to be able to manage all your different energies pulling you in different directions, and you have come through a transformation. You are moving ahead. I believe, you know, these are three major arcana cards here. There's a fourth one here. This is quite an important month for you, for those of you who've chosen this pile. I feel that the next 6 weeks or so are really important in terms of the growth that you'll be undergoing for yourself, and where you're headed to. But you do have a degree of strength, and you do have the movement that you need to be able to effect the changes that you will have in your life. Okay, so thank you very much. I do hope that it works out very well for you. I thank you for coming to my channel and sampling some of my pick a card readings. And yes, do come by again. There are other offerings here at Kismet Rising. I'll be doing a monthly or more regular energy forecast, and I will be doing clairvoyant sort of pick number readings occasionally. And I will also be working on other pick a card readings, working with tarot, Lenormand cards, Kipper cards, Gypsy cards, and perhaps runes as well at some stage. So I thank you once again for coming by, and I wish you a fantastic month ahead. Thank you.